Hello, this is the 100 Club. I'm Tom, and I'm joined by Rich, and we've got an interview today with the podcasting legend, cricketing legend, that is Kate Cross. It's fair to say I'm a little nervous, but let's see how this goes. Kate, hi.
Do you know what? It's bad when you get introduced for your podcast before you cricket, so that's a great start.
That is a great start. I'm already blushing here, and unfortunately, because this is videoed as well, I don't get away with it. How are you doing anyway?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. How are you both doing?
We are good, thank you. I want to know how you spent your afternoon. Has it been armour plating a bus that you're about to drive with Manchester written on the side of it towards Headingley?
You know what? I've not thought about that. Yeah, we probably should, shouldn't we? It's interesting, because obviously it's a brand new tournament. The affiliations are there with, we've seen the home crowd advantage, that kind of thing. But I thought the rivalry wouldn't be there yet with the local derby. However, we said yesterday in the dressing room after we lost to London Spirit, we said we've still got the opportunity to stop the Superchargers from qualifying. And I've never seen a room just light up so much. And that was coming from our coach, who's a Yorkshireman, saying that he wanted to go over there and beat them. So, yeah, there's obviously still a lot to play for us in this tournament. A lot of it being pride. So we're looking forward to going over there. And I guess the expectation of what the Western Terrace will be like as well for the girls fielding on the boundary.
Yeah, it's another sellout.
We had a chat to Liz Russell of the Superchargers earlier, and yeah, they're aware of it too.
It is great though, isn't it? I mean, we see it so much in football, you see it so much in rugby, and probably not so much in the women's cricket arena. We obviously feel it when we go and play Yorkshire as a Lancashire team. But I think that's something that's really exciting about the 100 is that these identities have been created. And I don't know why, but there's some teams in this tournament that I don't like, and I don't know why. And it's kind of happened quite quickly. It's quite authentic, which I guess is what the 100's after, which is good.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's doing its job, and that we're getting the new fans that we really hope for. That's what I wanted as a cricket lover. I wanted new fans to get it, and we're seeing that, right?
I think so. Yeah, people have asked me that quite a lot, and I don't know why, and I don't know how. Maybe it's the more the exposure that we're getting on the BBC and the fact that all the games are covered on Sky. I think the fact that there's a game every day is really helpful. I've seen that firsthand playing over in Australia in the Big Bash, how people buy into that tournament because there is a game every day. And similarly with the IPL, there's always cricket on the television, which is incredible, especially when the kids are off holiday and it's raining and you need to find something for them to do. Yeah. But yeah, I don't really know how it's happened, but it's genuinely felt like there is a new set of people who are interested in cricket, which is like, I'm a cricket fan as well. It's amazing that that's happening, and I want more people to play the sport and have the experiences that I've had. So yeah, like I don't know how they've done it, but they've managed it, and it's been amazing. And the crowds have been something that's been a massive tick for me in terms of expectation level. I thought, it was quite low with the crowds, but it's completely exceeded it.
Okay, my mum is a fan of London Spirit men, but Southern Brave women. Is that allowed?
Why not? Why? Yeah, let's not pigeonhole anybody. If they want to support, let them support whoever they want. But if you can support the Manchester Originals, we really need it. So we're actually getting a lot of that with the podcast. We're getting a lot of people who listen to our podcast that are from down south and they support their local team men, but because of the podcast, they'll support the Manchester Originals girls. So yeah, we've got some fans, but unfortunately, they're not very happy fans at the minute.
Well, yeah, it's not been maybe like the dream tournament, but you have had some successes personally and as a team, and one of the things you have done is beaten the Southern Brave, who currently look like you might be the only team to achieve that in the tournament, maybe. So I mean, it's close, right? And has it felt close all the way through?
We've actually said, because we beat the top team in the tournament, we're actually the best team in it.
Yeah, so, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like heavyweight boxing.
Yeah, that's how it works, I've heard. So we go straight through to the final. So we'll see you at Lord's. I'm only joking. You know what? It's been quite tough, actually. Certainly as captain, there's a lot that goes on off the field, and I guess the stuff that people don't really see too much. So I found that side of it really tough. But I've loved the challenge of the new format and thinking about cricket differently. That's been a really nice challenge. And actually, the tactics have kind of come quite naturally in terms of I thought I'd find it difficult going from overs to balls. And that's just seemed to happen quite authentically as well. And so much so we have a monitoring system that we have to fill in every day so that England can keep track of our overs and stuff. And I find it really difficult now converting it back to overs rather than balls, because I'm got used to that. So yeah, that's been interesting how quickly we've fallen into it. But I keep saying as well, we're such a young team. We've got Emma Lamb opening the batting. She's 22. We've got 3 amazingly experienced overseas players who have been fantastic around the group. But then the people around that we're really proud of come from our region in terms of the Thunder team. And, we're trying to build a squad that hopefully stays together for the next 5 years. It's going to take time to see that success. And I already think that we've had quite a unique journey as a team in just the 7. Have we played 7 games? 8 games that we've played. No, we've not played that many yet, have we? We've played 6.
6.
Well, 5. I think you had 1 rained out, didn't you?
Yeah. So we spoke about, we've had this crisis meeting halfway through where we said we weren't playing the cricket that we know we can play. When I bowl at Lizelle Lee in the net, I am frightened for my life. And I want to see her go and do that to Izzy Wong or Catherine Brunt or whoever it is. And we just weren't quite clicking in terms of, I guess, the fear of failure. There was a bit too much around I guess how big the tournament has been and how visible it is and the scrutiny that comes with that. So I think we forget sometimes, because we've seen Emma Lamb play cricket for 10 years for Lancashire and dominate, that is still a new experience for her, going out and playing in front of 13,000 at the Oval. So, and I, from my point of view as well, I play international cricket and I've never played in front of crowds like this. So I think there's a lot that we expect of the players who are very young and quite inexperienced still, which hopefully we'll see in the next couple of years. We'll really push forward.
I think that's been one of the things I've really enjoyed about the tournament, because I think I watch quite a bit of women's cricket, but I tend to watch the international stuff. So, familiar with players like yourself and the Heather Knights and the Tammy Beaumonts of this world. But it's that kind of next generation of players. So you mentioned Izzy Wong, obviously Emma Lamb in your team, Ellie Threlcold, fantastic keeper, loved watching her. It's that sort of next level of players that we're getting to know that I've sort of really enjoyed in the tournament.
Yeah, and I think the Super League probably started that for us, didn't it? It kind of got those names out there, and I think now that we've got the regional contracts, it's going to fly in the next 2 years, because we saw how the international standard increased as soon as we got professional contracts. Well, not as soon as, that's probably a bit naive, maybe 2-3 years after we got our professional contract. So, there's definitely a bit of teething time, I guess, to get those players into a position where going out and playing on that stage is normal for them, because they're still used to playing at Chester Boughton Hall with, mum, dad and dog watching on a Sunday. And the live stream has helped that, I think, with the regional stuff. But I think we've almost kind of been thrown in at the deep end in a way, because it's gone from not a lot to a big tournament that we didn't know would be this big. Which is so exciting, and people will learn so quickly that way. But there's definitely, I feel like we're in a really weird phase at the minute where we still we're trying to be very professional, but there's a lot of things that it's new for a lot of people, and we're just expecting maybe a bit too much too soon. Certainly, maybe that's how I feel about our squad as well. But honestly, it's been amazing to be a part of, and like I said, it's completely exceeded my expectations. And it's, even though we've not had the success that we wanted, I've still thoroughly enjoyed it, which I guess is the mark of a good tournament.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the highlights, or one of the very first things I remember, was seeing Emma Lamb come out to bat and her jaw just dropping as all these fireworks and everything else was going off. And then we were lucky enough to chat to Sue Redfern last week, who was clearly umpiring in the game as well. She was saying, I was just so nervous myself. And if you've been around the game as long as she has, you wonder how it carries on.
Yeah, well, I spoke to Sue, obviously, because captain, we had a debrief, we had a pre-brief, is that the right word? We had a chat before the game, and Sue, you could tell she was really nervous. And then I was thinking, geez, I roughly know the rules, and I'm going to go out and give it a really good go. If I have a question, Sue has to know the rules. So, we were very reliant on the umpires in that first game. So I just said to her, I was like, let's just go and enjoy it. This is, we're all making history here. Let's have a great day. And whatever happens, we can have a laugh about it if we mess it up. So.
Yeah. It's been a big tournament for you, not only playing, you've been involved in the broadcast side. And of course, have to ask about the brilliant podcast, No Balls, the cricket podcast. My question is, it's slightly strange talking to you now, because having listened to so much of it recently, I sort of feel like I know you, yet obviously I'm a complete stranger to you. Do people sort of come up to you and they're telling you that all the time, that they feel like they know you because of the podcast?
Yeah. Do you know what? We're actually really proud of that. And I think that's something that we didn't know how big the podcast would get. We did it selfishly, we did it for ourselves at the beginning, when Al lost her contract and she needed a little bit of focus, and someone told us we were funny, so we went with it and thought, well, we'll try. But I think that's been something that I'm just really proud to come out of. Well, how long we'll do it for, I don't know, but the biggest thing for me is the mental health side of it. That's been, my biggest tick in the box, is that we've been able to help so many people through what was a really tough phase in lockdown. And we got a lot of feedback with that. But it's so ironic you say that, because I actually read a message yesterday on Instagram from someone, and they have our picture, the No Balls account, as their picture, which is quite nice. And they said exactly that. They said, you don't know who I am, but you've affected our lives so much. I feel like I'm one of your friends. And I guess that's testament to me and Al for being ourselves on the podcast. And that's all we ever wanted to be, because we wanted people to get to know us and what it is genuinely like to be a professional athlete, certainly in the female world, and the difficulties that we face sometimes with that. But yeah, it's just good fun. We've said it on the pod, you'll know that, but we treat it as therapy. It's our chance to get our beef out with each other in a week and get it all out there. And more than anything, we love doing it. And we're really obviously genuinely chuffed when people enjoy listening to it as well.
Yeah, it is great. And, the chemistry's there. And I like in the Manchester Originals social media stuff as well. There's loads of it out there and people are checking it out. But it's quite obvious that as a team, you've got really great chemistry as well. And I want to know, is that you two, that's yourself and Alex, pushing that? Or is there some third party in the team who's actually more the troublemaker?
We've got a few troublemakers in this team, you obviously, well, you might have seen the prank that they all pulled on me where they wrapped my kit up in cling film. I still need, if you got any ideas, by the way, for how to get them back, I'd really appreciate it. But I guess we're lucky because other than Cordelia and the 3 overseas players, we've got our region. So all the girls who've trained through the winter together then have the opportunity to go and play this tournament, which I think is really special, because certainly around the affinity to the team, the affinity to the city of Manchester, and what we're trying to create in terms of being the leading sporting entertainment in the city. I know we've got a lot to do to try and take over City and United, but we've got ambitions, which is, I guess, another Mancunian way. So I think it's really cool that we as a group can go from our region also into this tournament and feed the Manchester Originals with the girls that we're trying to bring through in the region. So I hope, if it has come across that we do have a good chemistry in the team, then I'd say it's probably down to that, because we spend a lot of time together. And it's genuinely been so good for me coming back from international duty and getting to spend so much time with girls that I've not really spent a lot of time with in the winter because I've been away so much. So like Dan Collins and Laura Jackson, they've been so much fun to be around. And I've genuinely really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm a bit nervous for it to finish, because I don't know what I'm going to do with my days, because I'm going to have to spend more time with Hartley. So a bit nervous about that.
You were touching on being away with England there. And obviously one thing we really hope about the 100 is it brings those new fans in, they discover the other formats of the game. And one thing I particularly enjoyed earlier in the year was the test you guys played against India. Now, we didn't quite finish it off in the end, but that last day was just absolutely compelling cricket. I think my wife was angry with me because I was just watching cricket all day. How can we
same as every other day then, Rich?
Same as every other day. How can we get more women's tests scheduled?
Well, now there's a lot more talk around it. I genuinely feel like there's more of a leg to stand on in the women's game for pushing for test match cricket. I've been a massive advocate for it since I made my test debut, because I think I'll probably get a bit bored of saying this, but I think that's where you learn the skill of cricket, because you have to do everything for a prolonged period of time. So boys grow up playing longer formats of the game. They'll play 2-day, 3-day cricket at age group stuff. And we don't get that luxury as female cricketers because of the lack of professionalism. So I think as we move forward and more teams become more professional, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing the multi-format series taken into a lot of different, not just England playing it, but I think, when India plays South Africa, I think we'll see a bit more of that, or I hope to see more of that. But I genuinely think, and I think the 100 has proved this, is that if you market the players in the correct way and you let people know that there's women's cricket on, they will come and watch it. And like I said earlier, I've not played in front of a crowd like we've played in the 100 in international cricket, other than when we were in Assam in India you know, where it's religion over there, and they'll go and watch anyone play cricket. But I think once there's an awareness out there that the product is good, which we've been banging on for a long time about now because we work so hard and we want people to come and watch us. I just feel like now that people are starting to see it, we hopefully can transfer that to international cricket. So I think the ECB will see now that they can market us probably a bit more effectively, or I hope so anyway. But I will be interested to see how the New Zealand series goes in September and what kind of crowds we get for that if if we manage to sell out. But I would love the ECB to see an ambition of maybe selling out the Oval for a T20 on a Friday night when England play New Zealand or whoever it might be who comes over. So that's a really exciting place for us to be as players as well, because I guess what we've been saying for so many years is now starting to translate in ticket sales and things like that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I suppose that leads me to my final question, if you forgive me, is how this goes forward now, because obviously you've got captaincy responsibilities and you've got the regional side, you've got the England commitments as well. How much do you think the club, the Manchester Originals, are going to continue between years and seasons? How much do you think you'll have an involvement yourself to do that player development, to continue that momentum that's been built up?
I mean, I'd love to be involved in it for as long as I can be. I don't know how long my career is going to be. I'm a fast bowler, so that's obviously not necessarily going to be well, maybe not too much longer, but fingers crossed, touch wood, with injuries and things like that. But I'm also really passionate about women's cricket, and I've started doing a master's in sports directorship in the view that I want to try and influence women's cricket moving forward from behind the scenes as well. So whether I'm playing or hopefully directing at some point, if Daniel Gidney watches this, and hopefully he might be in 5 years' time. But yeah, I'm genuinely passionate about young girls having an option to play cricket for a living, and that transition being really smooth from being that 5-year-old little girl in the garden to then being able to come and play in front of a packed house at Old Trafford when they play London Spirit, whoever it might be. So I think because I had a journey where I was the first to do a lot of things, which I'm very proud of, but also I didn't know I was doing it at the time, if you know what I mean. It was just part of my journey, and I was just playing as much cricket as I could. And it so happened that things went well for me, and then was able to kind of knock on doors, I guess, to be able to break boundaries and push things forward. But I don't want the girls to have that journey that I had. I want it to just be smooth. And yeah, like I said, I'm really passionate about that. So hopefully if I'm not involved in the cricket pitch, then I can influence it in another way somehow.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you straight up, you're a tremendous advocate for the game, and we're fans. We love it. So thank you on that sense.
Thank you so
much.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
We've loved chatting to you, and we wish you all the very best for tomorrow's game at Headingley. Go smash them.
Who are you supporting tomorrow?
Welshfire, as every day.
Come on.
No, Manchester Originals, of course.
Thank you.
The Originals. We'll support the Original.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Thank you, guys.
Go strong.
No worries.
Thanks.
Thanks.